All right, g'day. Here we are, Saturday night, Circa contest, Vegas horse pool proxies. Uh, I'm curious the over/under on how many of these I've done from the car, Scott. But currently in Jamaica, on the road, internet's been shit all day. Uh, what do we got? I'm live. It looks like I've got good connection right now. Let's get through this baby before I lose it. Tell us the games. What are we looking at here?
Well, not only are you a world traveler, but you'll do anything to put on a broadcast, and I appreciate that. And I can't tell, there's a lot of activity in your background, so yeah, I can definitely tell you're in a car. But we'll go ahead and get started. The number one, and you guys know I have no Survivor entries left, so we won't be able to talk much about those, but we can talk about millions. And the overwhelming number one pick this week was the Philadelphia Eagles. But Adam, there's not a whole lot we can talk about. That game, I believe, is late in the third quarter right now. So not a whole lot to say there.
What's the score there right now?
Let me see if I can get an update on the score.
Last I saw was 10-7 Commandos.
I've got a Philadelphia just scored 14-10. So right now they're not covering, but they have finally covering the money line. So it looks like Philadelphia is finally playing in that game, which had me worried because I really liked Philadelphia myself today. I think you had them on your scorecard too, didn't you?
I think I had them in a few being 6.5. The line was 7 heading to 7.5. I'm sure there's a few people sweating the Survivor as well on that one. So I guess we'll see once these plays are released who's on what in Survivor as well. But I imagine there's at least one or two sweating that game there.
Yeah, something like that. So we'll talk about the live entry, some games everybody can get an advantage on when you give us the inside information at the book. The number one play that has not started yet is none other than the Chicago Bears. That game's going to start here in about an hour and a half. Adam, tell us what the book says. Tell us what the right side is. And tell us how to pick up some free money.
I don't know about free money and what the right side is, but I can tell you what the book is. It's 57% of the money's on the Bears. This was one where the Circa contest was 0. The line had flipped from 1 to 2. Chicago open dog, then favorite, and it's gone back to 1 last I looked. But there was about 71% of the master money is on the Packers there. So not quite a data play. Not to spoil the alert, there's nothing that's showing up as a data play right now in tomorrow's schedule. But I'll look at more later and then again in the morning to see if I find anything. But I think that one overall, you had people picking the Bears because the line was 2. And then you had people picking against them by picking the Packers in a sense of they're behind and they need to pick some of these bad lines in the opposite way for no value to try and catch up or whatever they're trying to do there. So that's an interesting one. I think I had a couple with the Bears. I did have a couple with the Eagles, as you mentioned, but mainly was looking at the weekend, and I think Monday night I might have played 1 or 2.
Gotcha. Well, let's talk about game number 2, and this is kind of a sad game in my opinion. This is the Titans game. I believe Titans are taking on the Chiefs without their quarterback. So where's the master money on this with no Mahomes in this ball game?
Yeah, and this one, I think for a Circa contest, the line's 3. You could get 3.5 on the Circa contest. It felt like an easy spot to pick up. Oddly enough, it was about 62% of the money's on the Chiefs. 57% of the master money's on the Chiefs. Looking right now, we'll need the Titans. But it's low volume on that game so far. I think there's no one's really taken a stance or decided what they want to do on that. Again, Chiefs out of the playoffs, given up maybe and just sort of calling it a year. So maybe it's an opportunity for the Titans to pick up one. Again, Titans all early in the season was an easy go against on the Survivor side of it. As we get into these last few weeks, the effort of some teams just won't be there.
Yeah, and I would highly expect Kansas City's heart's not going to be in this game. No Mahomes, no playoffs. They're on the road. if there's any place they're going to just give up, I think it's a pretty good spot for them to give up. And I think that's why it was number 2 pick by all the millions people. So now we have a 3-way tie for third, which I find very interesting. We'll see what you think about this. Let's start with the first one in the 3-way tie. That's none other than the New York Giants.
Yeah, and this one again was, Giants 3. It was starting to maybe drop to 2.5 the line. Maybe, that's where sort of people are tuning into it. Home dog, there's a lot of games right now. This seemed like a hard week overall, unless there was a big variance in the line. I really didn't have much commitment into many of these games other than, again, playing a few different lines and that. A lot of teams are eliminated. A lot of teams sort of, you just don't know the motivation, whatnot. And this is one of those ones where, Vikings have been up and down. Giants have been down, showed up occasionally. But, yeah, this is a tough game to really get excited about. I do believe I had the Giants in at least one of my cards. But again, apart from the one that was up there a few weeks ago and has shit the bed the last couple of weeks, and the rest of them are kind of garbage. So there's not a lot of effort going into those entries 2 through 5.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, let's look at the second team that is tied. That's none other than the Carolina Panthers. What are you seeing on the Panthers?
And this was another one that it was starting to lean their way. I think the line on the contest was 3. Again, home, Tampa Bay being off. Carolina outperformed what people were thinking at the beginning of the year. This almost feels like the Giants have take the home dog, get the points, try and, if you lose, don't lose by more than a field goal. Half a point's worth everything in this contest as well, because there's, a lot of movement up and down. But there's a lot of games this week. Saints Jets is another one that just the number was there. I think 6.5 was where it was in the line, 5.5 on the contest. But yeah, taking the Saints in any game, although not hard to oppose the Jets.
I got you there. Well, the last one in the 3-way tie is none other than the Miami Dolphins. Looks like another home dog.
Yeah, and this was another one that the line, I believe, sort of going to 4, 3.5, heading that way. Looking at 58% of the money on the Dolphins, 50-50 on the master chart, but it's not a lot of volume there either. Again, another game that's sort of hard to get excited about. Dog at home, take the points. There was a lot of just, again, home underdogs, and that's been my bread and butter for 3 decades or whatnot, playing those home underdogs. But this week just felt like there was just a lot of road favorites that aren't good teams. But obviously Cincinnati showed up a little bit different since Burrows has come back. But yeah, this one I think was really the contest number was different than where the number was heading, and was an easy enough sort of pick. And I believe I used them in 4 or 5 of them and my number 1 entry as well. So.
And I see how you slipped in Burrow there, a Nebraska boy, just trying to rile me up a little bit since he didn't end up going and playing for the Huskers. I see what you're doing, but those are the top 5 for the day. And you're saying that there's no game of the day for you?
No, there's nothing that's standing out. Even today's games, there was nothing really there. A lot of money was on the Eagles again at the 6.5. Not as much once it got to 7.5. And on the other game, it's flip-flop with the injury early in the week. Then it went to 2, and then it kind of come back a little bit. So, it's been a lot of low volume. I think they're getting into the bowls. They're going day by day. And again, there's a lot of bad games this weekend.
Yeah, a lot of really, really close games. It could be a very tough week for the guys in Survivor that are left. I know they're down to like 10, I believe, is the number still. So we'll see what happens this weekend. Maybe we'll be cutting the number down to 5. Who knows? Should be interesting. And it will definitely be interesting to see who the top picks were in the Survivor contest.
Yeah, well, I think looking at it, there's likely to be probably some on Houston, some on the Eagles again. They're sweating that out right now. Saints, I imagine, may pick up 1 or 2. And then Buffalo, I think there was availability, and San Fran, there was low availability. So again, I think there's the obvious ones, and then seeing who you have available. Obviously, Christmas Day coming up, so you got to get through that, which is becoming a little tough for those games, and then one more week. But good luck to those that are still alive.
Yeah, definitely true. This weekend, though, has been more of a college football celebration than an NFL celebration, given the fact the playoffs. I got to tell you, that game last night, Alabama versus Oklahoma, that was two different games. Oklahoma decided to play the first half. Alabama decided to play the second half. Great, great ball game. I wish we'd have been on before that game had played. I would have loved to hear what the book needed in that one. Do you happen to remember?
Yeah, we needed Alabama. Oklahoma was the early one, and it stayed pretty strong on that side. It wasn't a big decision, but yeah, Alabama was the result. Wasn't looking good there at 17-0, but
Right.
yeah, just the whole game switched very quickly.
And that reminds me of that old saying about God protects all bookmakers. So that's probably why Alabama played the second half. And how about that great ball game this morning? Great ball game, not great outcome for me. Texas A&M taking on Miami. That was an amazing ball game. Again, I was all over the Aggies on this one, and of course I lost. But I got to tell you, that was quality football today.
Yeah, bookies lost on that one. Well, we definitely did. Money was heavy on Miami from the outset, and it continued in today. So bookies, well, our bookie wasn't protected on that one. At 3-3, I mean, that was a 0-0 first half, couple of missed field goals or a blocked one as well. But yeah, in the end, the punters got the money.
Definitely did. And I thought it was going to tie right there at the end, and we were going to get to see some quality overtime. But turns out they have an interception in the end zone and ruins the whole thing for me. But like I said, I love college football. I enjoy watching it every week. I can't wait for the next round of these playoffs, and more importantly, for them to expand it to 16 teams. So, like I said, great weekend for football, but that's about all I've got here, unless you've got something to close up with.
No, as I said, it's a pretty quiet week this week. A lot of games that just feel uninteresting, except for the college. The college a bit more effort. They're all over James Madison against Oregon. I mean, the money is generally in Oregon, but the pros are on James Madison. So I know I'd sort of said plus 22, 2.5, 21.5. They'd bet early in the week. I think that one closed at 20.5. Again, may have started. I've lost track of exactly what time it is. And it looks like, again, I spoke about Tulane this morning, and that's why I probably shouldn't make picks on games without the data backing it up. From what I saw, Ole Miss had blown them out early on as well. So, yeah, I mean, college football, it's bowls all the way through. We're in the first round of the playoff as well. Still 3 weeks left of the Circa contest and Survivor if they survive all the way through the end. So, yeah, I mean, good luck to everyone having a bet tomorrow. And I will show up in the morning and see if we can find a play of the day.
Did you want to say anything about Jamaica before we sign off?
Just here, landed last night. We've got some of our supplies getting cleared on Monday. So just, hit the road. Again, internet's pretty choppy and bad. So I'm trying to at least stay in when games are starting, and then, all over the place. But yeah, I mean, there's general people that are more unfortunate than ourselves on any given day. But with this hurricane that come through, they kind of it went to a whole nother level. So again, I've gotten a lot out of Jamaica over 20 plus years, bunch of kids and whatnot. So again, just trying to give a little bit back and, see what we can do, especially around Christmas, New Year. So
that sounds really good. I hope everybody goes out to your website and participates in what you're trying to do there. I admire you for doing it. I think you're doing good work.
Yeah, and we've had lots of interest as well. It's been good. So those that are supported, thank you. And anybody else wanting to jump in, again, it's just trying to do a little bit along the way and seeing how we can and make a little impact and help out a few people. So But all the best to those tomorrow, today, games going on, survivors. You know, there's a lot right now. So all the best and good luck.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week.